Good afternoon. This is Rashad Mitchell comes to you live from my YouTube channel as I continue on my part series of the week that was college football's history and review. The 1958 college football season. This is the week that was college football's history and review of 1958 college football season. It's something that's going to be a different season. Already concluded the 1957 season. So it's all about looking at the 1958 season. So let's get into it. 1958 college football season was the year of the Chinese Bandits, Lonely Inn, and two-point conversions. Innovation was the hallmark of the 1958 college football season. Fourth-year Louisiana State coach Paul Dietzel created a three-platoon system to circumvent the substitution rules, and his big band of players carried the Bayou Bengals all the way to the AP national title. Despite their having started the season unranked, Dietzel's former boss, Army coach Earl Red Blake, bowed out after 18 years at West Point by springing the Lonely Inn offense on puzzled foes. And college football saw its first change in scoring rules since 1912, the amazingly different two-point conversion opportunity available after every touchdown. Striving to create specialized units similar to pro football's offense and defense, Dietzel took advantage of slightly liberalized substitution rules in 1958 by employing LSU in three different outfits. The starting white unit that played both offense and defense and included such stars as center linebacker Max Fugler and halfbacks Billy Cannon and Johnny Robinson. The gold or goal unit that played only offense and the colorful defensive unit Chinese Bandits. Now the Bandits came by their name because Dietzel once read in the comic strip Terry and the Pirates that Chinese Bandits were the most vicious people in the world. Coming off a 5-5 record in 1957, LSU broke into the top 20 after upsetting Rice in the opener, since coach Bear Bryant, to defeat in his debut at Alabama, took over number 1 after beating Florida on October 25th. Number 12, Clemson, gave LSU a tough Sugar Bowl, losing by only 7-0. Army opened its season against South Carolina, upset winner the week before against a well-regarded Duke squad. What the Gamecocks confronted was one of the oddest, most devastating offensive schemes ever concocted. The Lonely Inn offense, unveiled that Saturday at West Point, New York, was a wing tee with the unbalanced line, which is a dramatic departure from Army's familiar tight-pack infantry, but a certain style. To force early defensive commitment and to conserve energy of the wide flank strong side, and the player never entered on offense. Lonely and Bill Carpenter got visual signals from where we had and his curious, lonesome posture prompted many non-sports newspaper editorials pontificating about a growing suburban society that breeding aloofness. Leave it to the editorial writers to find some negativity in football strategy. Whether or not the Lonely Inn was of a flawed American culture, it was a great offensive attack that helped pave the way to a more wide-open game in football's future. Interested in being a national curiosity, the Army attack, led by scrawny quarterback Joe Caldwell, halfbacks Pete Doggins and Bob Anderson, each are future Hall of Famer, ranking 4th overall in total offense and in passing. The pass yardage title was a remarkable occurrence for a team coached by the conservative Blake, because prior to 1958, Blake had been a ground-oriented infantryman all the way. So another service academy authored a stunning debut in big-time football in 1958 was the Air Force Academy, that was founded in 1955, sent its first class of senior athletes led by tackle captain Brock Strom to play against major opposition for the first time. So the Falcons earned a 9-0-2 mark, including wins over Oklahoma State, Wyoming, and ties against Rose Bowl champion Iowa. Texas Christian in the January 1st square-off in the Cotton Bowl. It was likely the greatest debut to major college football of all time. The only school close to Air Force 1958 achievement of arriving from relative obscurity was Marshall. After a devastating plane crash nearly ended Thundering Herd football completely, the school built their program gradually, starting in 1971. Under the guidance of new unknown coach Jack Lanier, Marshall won one AA titles in 1992, 1996, and splashed into 1A with a record of 10-2 in 1997. Marshall's relaunch into 1A included a close Motor City Bowl loss to Mississippi. Now still, Air Force's undefeated debut remains the greatest, and the Falcons eventually became the most consistent football playing service academy, winning the Commander-in-Chief trophy many times over Army and Navy. Now, adoption of the two-point conversion emerged college football in a year unlike any other, with peculiar scores like 12-8, 22-16, and 13-8 becoming commonplace. Princeton coach Dick Coleman was only half joking as he suggested installation of a stadium applause meter to guide his extra point decisions. Coleman's fellow coaches showed dramatic nerve as they ordered 2-point tries with surprising zeal. Collegiate teams attempted 2-point tries after touchdowns on an amazing 51.4% of the time. The fun wouldn't last because a year later, the space between the goalposts was widened, and extra point kicking became a much surer proposition. Kicking became much more attractive to coaches who by nature tend to be conservative. The kick success rate on extra points jumped from 68.6% in 1958 to 75.4% in 1959. Furthermore, a wild card substitution rule in 1959 allowed, indeed, encouraged use of one-play kicking specialists. The eventual proliferation of accurate soccer-style kickers in the 1960s and 1970s further stacked the odds against a coach choosing a two-point run or pass. Nearly every team abandoned two-pointers except to break late game ties or bring themselves to the narrower scoring margins for come from behind attempts. The adoption of overtime periods in the 90s, which meant the end of tie games, were a major discouragement to late game two-pointers that could determine a winner. Since the 1970s, the number of two-point attempts has leveled off at 300 to 400 per year, between 6 and 10% of all tries. Successful two-pointers have not exceeded 300 since 1962. A 1970 season saw the greatest percent succeed. 47.1% of tries put 2 points on the scoreboard. Lately, two-pointers succeed about 42% of the time. But in that one wonderful wacky year of 1958, the two-point conversions were successful 613 of 1,371 tries, a percentage of 44.7. Milestones that took place in 1958 was NCAA Rules Committee created additional options to add excitement to conversions after touchdown. While a successful conversion kick remained a single point, teams were given option of scoring 2 points with one run or pass over goal line. Scrimmage line for all points after touchdown was moved from 2 to 3 yard line. Substitution rules were liberalized to allow all players to twice enter and leave field during any quarter of play, thus opening the way for platoons to at least partially concentrate on offense or defense on exclusive basis. Now here's the 1958 longest winning streaks entering the 1958 season for college football. Auburn was number 14. They had 14 straight wins. Arizona State had 12 straight wins. Ohio State had 9 straight wins. Coaching changes you had incoming Ben Martin for Air Force, Paul Bear Bryant, Alabama, Frank Kush, Arizona State, Arkansas, Frank Broyles, Indiana, Phil Dickens, Iowa State, Clay Stapleton, Kansas, Jack Mitchell, Missouri, Dan Devine, Stanford, Jack Crotis, Texas A&M, Jim Myers, UCLA, A. George Dixon, UCLA B, Bill Barnes, Utah, Ray Nagel, Virginia, Dick Vorvis. Let's look at the top 20 preseason AP poll of 1958. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Oklahoma. Number 3, Notre Dame. Number 4, Michigan State. Number 5, Auburn. Number 6, Mississippi. Number 7, Navy. Number 8, Texas Christian. Number 9, Army. Number 10, North Carolina. Number 11, Texas. Number 12, Oregon State. Number 13, Iowa. Number 14, Wisconsin. Number 15, Mississippi State. Number 16, Miami. Number 17, Southern Methodist. Number 18, Clemson. Number 19, Pittsburgh. And number 20, Texas A&M. That was the preseason AP poll. Let's do it again. Number 1 was Ohio State. Number 2, Oklahoma. Number 3, Notre Dame. Number 4, Michigan State. Number 5, Auburn. Number 6, Mississippi. Number 7, Navy. Number 8, Texas Christian. Number 9, Army. Number 10, North Carolina. Number 11, Texas. Number 12, Oregon State. Number 13, Iowa. Number 14, Wisconsin. 15, Mississippi State. Miami. Number 16. Number 17, Southern Methodist. Number 18, Clemson. 19, Pittsburgh. 20, Texas A&M. So let's get into it. The college football season started on September 19th on a Friday when Southern California shut out Oregon State, the number 12 team in the country. At the time, 21-0. Favorite for his third straight title in what would be last season of strife-ridden PCC, the Beavers were stunned by a young squad of Trojans. Southern California halfback Rex Johnston, 56 yards on 11 carries, scored in the first quarter and added conversion kick to complete 52-yard Trojans sojourn after they made fourth down stop of Oregon State fullback Nub Beamer, who had 24 yards on 7 carries after gaining 133 yards versus USC in 1957. USC quarterback Willie Wood passed 38 yards to end Hilliard Hill, and quarterback Tom Maudlin tossed 35 yards into end zone. All right. Oregon State threatened after USC's opening touchdown, but Trojans halfback defensive back Tony Ortega made interception tailback Paul Lowe at own 31-yard line. Beavers earned much of their 204 yards against subs in fourth quarter. Now we're going to get into South Carolina against Duke. Duke versus South Carolina. This matchup ended in a 8-0 score of South Carolina beating Duke, as the Gamecocks center linebacker Lawton Rogers recovered fumble on Duke 42-yard line on game's fifth play. Subsequent touchdown drive was fueled by halfback Alex Hawkins' fourth down 12-yard shot put pass to halfback King Dixon, which carried to Duke 2-yard line. South Carolina quarterback Bobby Bunch tallied on touchdown and 2-point conversions. Win was upheld in second quarter as Gamecocks defensive end Jimmy Duncan, quarterback defensive back Harvey Shiflett stopped Blue Devils halfback George Boutreau fourth down run at South Carolina 2-yard line. Dixon led Carolina rushers with 64 yards, while halfback Ray Carlton rushed 62 yards for 11 carries and 62 yards for Duke. Next, Wake Forest beat Maryland in a shutout by a score of 34-0. As ending 12-game losing streak, Wake Forest crafted astonishing outcome on arm of sensational sophomore quarterback Norm Snead threw 3 touchdowns for 194 yards on 5 of 10 passing. Snead engineered a pair of 80-yard scoring drives. His third 3 touchdown throws tied existing ACC record at that time. Maryland was held to 154 yards of total offense and threatened only twice after his first punt. Maryland fell on a fumble at Wake 40-yard line as guard Rod Breedlove rattled Snead's pass try, and later in first half, Terrapins moved 71 yards on runs by fullback Jim Joyce. Terps kicker Vince Scott missed field goal at end of that march. Demon Deacons led 14-0 at halftime. Added touchdown passes by Snead in third quarter to end Pete Manning for 22 yards after Manning fumble recovery, and to halfback Jim Dalrymple for 11 yards after fullback linebacker Neil McClain made an interception. Wake earned dandy 505 yards of offense total, his largest output in many seasons. Number 18, Clemson beat Virginia by a score of 20-15. Thanks to bewildering variety of offensive formations, strong Virginia quarterback Reese Whitley outplayed highly rated Clemson quarterback Harvey White until Tigers' ground game wore Cavs thin in the fourth quarter. Whitley had pitched 46 and 12-yard passes to bring ball near the goal line in the first quarter so that halfback John Barger could punch through right tackle for 7-0 lead. Tigers came right back to within 7-6 on halfback George Usry's touchdown run, but White was stopped on a 2-point try. Tigers' second unit started second half and assumes tapped fullback Doug Klein had back Bill Mathis to bowl downfield onto sophomore quarterback Lowndes Singler dive over power by 1 yard touchdown and raced wide for 2 points. It was Clemson's first lead of day at 14-7. Virginia almost scored again as halfback Pat Cash jumped with 2 defensive backs for Whitley's throw to end zone. The ball slipped away to become an interception by Tigers center linebacker Bill Thomas. Undaunted, Whitley slid 22-yard touchdown pass. Subsequent 2-point pass to star halfback Olmo Sonny Randall early in fourth quarter. Now trailing 15-14, Clemson stellar subs drove 90 yards through towering Cavaliers for Mathis winning 4-yard touchdown burst. Nebraska beat Penn State 14-7. Jury exchange of punts suddenly was enlivened in fourth quarter, so no sooner had halfback Dave Kasparin finally given Penn State a 7-0 lead that sophomore halfback Pat Fisher, last of the 3 football brothers at Lincoln, raced 92 yards with ensuing kickoff for a touchdown. Inspired of Nebraska, then used 29-yard run by halfback Larry Navarre, a 28-yard pass by quarterback George Harshman to set up fullback Carol Zarubas, winning 1-yard touchdown plunge. Vanderbilt beat Missouri 12-8 as Mizzou Tigers bowed in under new coach Dan Devine before a national TV audience, but it was same old story because Missouri lost its 11th straight season opener. Vanderbilt flashed brilliant blocking early as sub halfback David Ray skipped 81 yards on punt touchdown return for 6-0 lead. Tigers made vital blunder on block punt by sophomore end Daniel Rose in first quarter when 3 of them surrounded ball when they could have run it in for touchdown. The Rose blocked another punt in second quarter for safety. Commodores went 63 yards, their only sustained trip of day for third quarter touchdown 12-2 lead. Mizzou Ariels advanced it to Vandy 13-yard line in the fourth quarter, spot from which halfback Mel West swept left for touchdown. That would become Tiger offensive staple under Divine power sweep. Louisiana State beat Rice. A score of 26-6. Utilizing terrific speed and depth, LSU sprung on well-regarded Iowa's new 3-platoon system, innovation of its bright coach Paul Dietzel. Quarterback Warren Rabb scored on option sweep in first quarter out of Bengals' new wing teeth attack. LSU halfback Billy Cannon made 2 touchdowns possible. His 20-yard catch in second quarter set up fullback Red Broadnax's touchdown run and his third quarter punt to 1-yard line. Ensuing 30-yard punt return set up halfback Johnny Robinson touchdown run. Rice fullback Ray Chilton managed fourth quarter touchdown to avoid bashment of whitewash. And finally, Pittsburgh, the number 19 team in the country, beat UCLA by a score of 27-6. Conservative Pittsburgh normally aligned in tight tackle to the tight T. Surprised Bruins by opening in pro spread and using blocks of center Don Crafton and guards John Uzick and Ed Michaels to carve huge holes in the middle of the line. Panthers gained 229 yards by land, resulting in pass opportunities for quarterbacks Ivan Tonchik and Bill Caledon to spoil coaching debut of George Dickinson of UCLA. Tonchik sneaked across for the game's first touchdown in first quarter after his 28-yard pass to end Art God. UCLA tailback Don Long threw off-balance pass that defensive back Tonchik picked off and sped 55 yards down left sideline on touchdown return. Bruins tailback Billy Kimmer, JC transfer, came off bench, arched 58-yard pass to wingback Marv Luster and scored only 6 seconds before halftime to shave Pitt's lead to 12-6. It's funny, but at halftime, I thought we'd win, said UCLA assistant coach Bill Barnes. It looked like they were tiring, but Pitt made all of second half, scoring guard kicker Norton Siemens' 24-yard field goal, halfback Dick Haley's run, sophomore end Mike Dicker's fourth-quarter touchdown snare of quarterback Ed Schrockman's pass. So that's the end of that for week 1 of the college football season of 1958. September 20th, the game was played on September 19th between Southern California and Oregon State. So let's look at the AP poll of September 22nd. Number 1 was Ohio State, number 2 Oklahoma, number 3 Auburn, number 4 Michigan State, number 5 Notre Dame, number 6 Texas Christian, number 7 Pittsburgh, number 8 Army, number 9 Mississippi, number 10 Washington State, number 11 Mississippi State, number 12 Navy, number 13 West Virginia, number 14 Wisconsin, number 15. That spot was it was a tie between Miami and Louisiana State. Number 17 was Kentucky. Number 18, Florida and South Carolina. It was a tie between Florida and South Carolina for the 18th spot. And number 20, Southern Methodist. So that concludes this part series about the week that was college football history and review, the 1958 college football season. Do what we can to support what I do, and that's basically it. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel. Again, this is week 1 of the college football season for 1958. The games that were played on September 20th, but also there was a game played on September 19th, 1958 between Oregon State and Southern California. So that's week 1, so I'll do week 2 tomorrow, September 27th. You can like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to support the channel. This is Rashad Mitchell. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.